is Liverpool's poor form deeper than a bad start? Is the cycle over at Liverpool, or are we talking too soon?
I think, okay, this is going to be, it's not a political answer, but the current cycle is obviously over. They've lost, I think Mane was the real, like, we're seeing how much I said miss Mane. I'm not going to lie, a lot of us called that as soon as he left as well. Like, that's a massive miss because he really does set the tone for how Liverpool want to play and how Klopp wants to play.
Yeah.
So losing him was just massive. They are changing because Milner is obviously, I mean, he's just not up to the level anymore. He's too old. Henderson's not up to it. I don't believe he's up to it as a starter anymore anyway. I just think that cycle is ending. I do. And the question I have kind of back to you as well in answer to your question is, Klopp's never proven that he can rebuild a team fully, can actually rebuild a team. It happened at Mainz, happened at Dortmund. There was like this, I'm not saying it's exactly this, but there was a 7-year kind of cycle that and there is a worry, not specifically down to Klopp or even the players, that the owners haven't backed him enough. I've said this on previous podcasts that they're to blame for it as well because they've kind of rested on their laurels. They've lost what's his name? Edwards, the director. They've lost their director of football, who was part of all this scouting system to get all these like gems that they found. So with him leaving and Klopp not being proven yet that he can rebuild a team sufficiently, I think it is a deeper rooted issue than just a bad start to the season. I think it is because God, it's hard because when they get their injury, when they get players back, Thiago, Konate, players like that, they could end up looking better. But I don't think they're going to ever hit the heights of which they've hit for the last 5 years. That's the thing as well. I don't think they're getting back to that 90-point season kind of thing. I really don't like.
Yeah. Where I stand is very like that. I can see that. I'm not saying that they're going to be awful this season. They're going to finish way off it, but you can't see how they can be that title challenging team that's stuck with City. And I actually give more blame to the ownership really than Klopp, because I feel that even the likes of City, and they've been the team that have set the bar, right? Alongside Liverpool, to be fair to them.
Yeah.
But City have never stopped progressing. I know Liverpool signed Núñez and that, but there was other areas that they need to address, and City do address them. It feels like every season. It feels like Liverpool decided that they could get away with taking their foot off the gas a bit.
Like you're right, I agree with you. City, if we're going to compare to do it more efficiently, it did look like I can't sit here and be a hypocrite. I thought Liverpool going to win the fucking league this season. So it did look like they were doing things quite nicely, getting Diaz in January before the summer, getting Núñez in before pre-season. So it looked like they were doing things in the correct manner. Obviously, you can't foresee all them injuries happening, which happened a couple of years ago.
That's been a big hit.
But also, you've got to look at the form of some of them players. Like, if we're going to get into individuals, Fabinho's been off for half a year. He's been off form now. Trent is, I mean, as much as you back Trent, Chaz, is almost, you can't back him at the minute because he looks below, ironically, we've done it as a joke, he looks below Cedric levels of defending at the minute as well. Like, he looks like he's not just bad, but he looks like he's actually not trying at the minute. Van Dijk, let's keep it real. Van Dijk's been shocking this season. Not anything but he's actually been shocking. He's not even been remotely good, I don't think, this season. Like, I'm just trying to be brutally honest here. Not saying that he's finished or anything, but he's not starting well. And
I think for the likes of Milner, I don't know if you were going to say Milner, but
Milner's finished.
Yeah, that's the problem. I understand as a player like Milner, he's been that player that they could bring on, rough teams up, even go into any sort of position that Klopp's needed over the years, right?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, there is a time where you say that you can't just keep saying one more year. There's going to be a time where it does, and it does look now that it's time it's finished for him.
I think the real worry, you're talking about midfield, as well, with Milner and Henderson in it, and that obviously we know how integral Thiago is, but you can never rely on him anyway for his injury record. It's more so, when they play Carvalho and Elliott, as much as they're huge talents, they're losing so much in that midfield with them two in terms of, first of all, physicality. They're both extremely lightweight and don't have their athleticism. Do you know when they had their core midfield of Wijnaldum, Henderson, and Fabinho? That had the whole point of that. It was a workman-like midfield, wasn't it? It was they kind of set the platform for the attackers to do what they want and the fullbacks to bomb forward that midfield. Now there's no legs there, is it? There's no letting it. Fabinho looks leggy now. Like, they're young, and I'm not going to give them any criticism because Elliott's look good in spells, so is Carvalho, but they're not. Unfortunately, you're not going to be competing for major honours with them two kids in midfield at the minute as well. Really not. It's unfortunate. And I mean, I was going to make a point. For the past 2 years, to be honest, Alisson has been performing at a great level, and I think he's been getting them out of jail quite a lot as well. I've seen a lot of one-on-ones he saved for the past few years, and he couldn't maintain that consistency the whole time. And now they're starting to go in, and we're starting to see that exposed. And then finally,
there was an element to that one save he would make, which kept him rather than.
Ironically, he'd done it against Everton on the 0-0 draw. Maupay had a massive chance to put them ahead, and he came up clutch again, and they can't keep relying on that. And at the end of the day, unfortunately, I don't know how much you rate Luis Diaz. For me, is he ever going to reach Mane levels? Or I like Diaz. I do like Luis Diaz, but Mane was an exception. I feel like
as much as you're talking about Diaz, is the sort of poor form. Like, what I'm saying is Salah has been awful, right?
Again, we have to keep it real. He's been shite.
So in previous seasons, was his numbers getting them out of jail at times? Now, that's not disrespectful to anything they've achieved or done, but when a player like him might come up with 2 or 3 goals, it does take the pressure off the defence.
This is perfect that you brought that up. This is my opinion on the likes of players like Salah, I would never argue with his numbers. He's been consistent for 5 to 6 years. He's going to go down. He's going to go down. Unfortunately, he's going to go down as a Premier League great. He will go down as a Premier League great. Well, only with 1 league to his name, potentially, but still, he'll go down as an individual great. But players like him, that people are going to get on to me for this, but they're not the type of players to take the game by the scruff of the neck. This is what separates him from the greatest of their era. He may have been an elite player, and he still may be an elite player, because there's no doubt, let's be honest, Chaz, he's going to get numbers this season again. By the law of averages, he's going to play enough games to get enough goals and enough assists.
We're not saying he's completely finished. We can't say that.
But that's not act as if this is any different to roughly how he's been performing for the last half a decade. He has been on the periphery of games, but except he's just been in a higher functioning team and performed at a better level because of that. But now the team's performing bad. Is he that guy to drag his team through these moments and really, when I see the likes of Neymar and Prime Hazard, when Chelsea weren't the greatest, like, these players can pick up the ball. They're creative.
I've got a question. Actually.
Bale as well. They've got the stardust where they can be anywhere on the football pitch and drag your teams out of the mud. Salah is a poacher.